Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Courageous Exchanges. I'm Alex.
And I'm Joy.
And we're so excited to have our conversation with you today.
Yes. So this conversation, we were talking and we're like, okay, we did a little bit of like get to know you, but there's so many more things about us, especially when we're talking about being courageous and having conversations. So I thought about this game that my fairy goddaughter gave me. Shout out to you, Leah. It's from We're Not Really Strangers, and it's the self-awareness starts with self-reflection deck. So I don't know if you can. It's what the girlies do. They put their hand behind.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but so we're gonna just ask each other some questions, and we're also gonna answer the questions we ask as well, right?
Oh, okay.
Or are we just asking each other? What do you want to do?
No, I think we should ask the questions and each of us get a chance to respond. Okay. Who's starting? Me?
Sure.
Okay. So, first question. Ooh, let's slow it down a little bit. Oh, this is good. Okay. In what ways do I want to be like the people that raised me? And what's important for me to avoid repeating?
That's a good question. Am I answering first?
Yes.
Okay, after one more time. Alex hates me today.
If only y'all knew.
I was like, are we fighting? Are we gonna break up before this podcast even airs?
It's all too much. In what ways do I want to be like the people that raised me?
Okay.
And what's important for me to avoid repeating?
Okay. Thank you for repeating that question. I think something that I really loved about my dad was I always feel like he was just forever his authentic self. Like Hezekiah was Hezekiah. There was no doubts about it. If he said he was going to do something, he did it. And if he said he wasn't, you could never change his mind. So I want to stand true in who I am and be that. If I had to take something from my dad. From my mom was so like loving and kind and like genuine. And I hate the like you're so strong because you're like dealing with a lot of shit and you don't complain about it a lot. But maybe less of strong, but more of just she just fought. So maybe her strength in the fight, and really trying to like advocate for scleroderma awareness and try to figure out how can somebody else not have this, and if they do, what can they do to not maybe live the quality of life that she lived. And things that I want to avoid. I want to be better with money than my parents were. And I want to, that's probably the biggest one. Yeah.
That was important. I would agree. I think that definitely something that I would want to emulate from my parents would definitely be their dedication to making sure that their children had important life experiences, whether it be through like solid education, travel, conversation, exposure to different kinds of like things like music, places to visit and things like that. I would say that that's definitely something I would want to take with me. Also, like for my mom specifically, my mother has a very strong personality and she's very clear about who she is. And sometimes, it's hard to deal with, but she's no pushover.
Right.
And so I really appreciate and respect that about her. And I think I have a lot of that spirit in me that comes from her that I see even more now that I, get older and older. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my mother right now.
Got it. Okay.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Maybe not when it's coming to you.
Yeah. I would say something that I want to leave behind is that kind of in that same vein, like I want my children to live freely. So like, although like my parents were very like dedicated to making sure we had a lot of experiences, and they were also very good with their finances, very responsible. We weren't always like pushed to go outside of the lines. It was more so like you're learning these things just to because they're important for you to know, but like you need to pick something that's solid.
Yeah.
Would
you say that's more of a cultural thing?
Yeah, probably. So I think that, for my child, I would like to create more of a freer environment within reason, obviously. And then it's really important for me to like, as I grow, to like really be able to live a free and authentic life.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I want to do even more than my parents did.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That's always a goal. Like I feel like parents should want their children to do and have more than they had, and the ones that don't, it's weird to me. But also like that we should look at our parents as an example of like say to the question like the things that we want to keep and the things that we would like to do better at or change.
Yep.
Okay. What's a non-negotiable in my life?
I would say a non-negotiable in my life right now is that I very much do not play around when it comes to my time. And that's in all facets of my life right now. That is, whether it's work, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's family time, like I take my time very seriously and I try to be very intentional about my time.
Yeah.
While obviously still enjoying, those moments and being in the present. I think that that's definitely a non-negotiable. I would say another is definitely like respect.
Okay.
Like I don't really do arguing and back and forths. We can have a disagreement, but handle it respectfully. But I don't really do the back and forth and like you doing weird shit. Like that's just not what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm similar to that, a non-negotiable. I do not like name calling.
Yep.
I don't like name calling. I don't like a back and forth either. So like if I feel like it's gonna go that way, sometimes it's really easy for me to be like, yeah, never mind.
Yep.
I'd rather avoid it. I had commented on something on Instagram, and then somebody commented it back to my comment, and I'm like, you're looking for a back and forth. I'm just gonna delete what I was saying.
Yep.
So I don't have time for that. Another non-negotiable. I really want to be happy. Let me take that back. I want to live a joyful and enjoy life. And every day I want to be more grateful and have moments of that. So non-negotiable for me is being grateful every day and finding a piece of joy in each part of the day. Even if it was like 2 minutes of like, this was a really great time or great day because this thing happened and I'm really grateful that this thing happened, because I could get really caught up in like despair and I don't want to be that person anymore. Like I don't want to be a super negative person because I feel like I have been for a long time.
It's my turn?
Yeah.
What can I be kinder towards myself for today?
What can I be kinder towards myself for today? Today. Okay. Let me think of today. I think just in general. Well,
I think recently is fine.
I think I need to treat my body kinder. And just like my overall health. I'm an entrepreneur, so I have to pay for my health insurance, and that's ghetto. So I hadn't had health insurance for a while. So just getting back on track with that and making sure I go to take care of myself, eating better, and doing the things. So being kinder to my body because I want to be here long. I don't want to die in my 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s. I want to be like an old sassy lady. What about you?
I would say I should probably be kinder to myself about the goals that I've set, like the story that I had told for my life. And I think that I've gotten there. Like I've become a lot more kinder about like just understanding that my process is so much different from everyone else's. Yeah. But I also believe that my outcomes would be so much different and more fruitful than what I could have imagined. I think that for a long time I beat myself up about that, and I'm to a place now where I'm really, starting to feel comfortable with like who I am and where I am. Yeah. In life. I think another thing I need that I'm pretty kind to myself lately is like I rest. Your girl likes to lay down.
I love that you like to rest now. Oh God, I feel like there was a time where you just was like always on the go.
No.
And I'm like, am I the lazy girl?
No. If you're looking for me and it's pretty likely that I'm in bed or like watching a show alone with the phone put away. It's just like what I like to do, and it's my way of being kind to myself. Yeah. And like I just like to do that.
I love that. Shout out to the rest.
So I'll be laying down.
Okay. What have I tolerated from people in the past that I no longer have space for?
Okay. Being taken advantage of, being treated less than who I am and what I bring to the table. I don't know if this is the right phrasing, but like being discounted, disrespected, under the guise of like being jokey or like, I just don't tolerate being the butt of anyone's joke or the source of anyone's like whatever shit they trying to get off. Like that's just, I don't tolerate that. I did for, a small portion of time. And it's just not something that I'm okay with anymore. And I'm really proud of the fact that, like, I think we all get to a point where it's just like, there's just that switch that, happens and whatever the timing is for when it happens. But yeah, I don't tolerate that. You're not going to mess over me. You're not going to play around with me, and I'm really proud to say, again, like thinking about like the spirit of my mother. Yeah. You can't play with my mama. And I think as I've become older and like clearer about things, I feel her spirit in me even more. Yeah. And sometimes I have to temper it, but I think that like I channel that in the moments where I really needed to, and I'm so grateful that I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
What about you?
Probably the same. And I think a lot of that came from how I felt about myself, so I let people treat me how I was treating myself, which there's been a huge shift and change towards that. So I just don't tolerate it anymore. I'm like I remember like dating someone and being like, "You're mean to me," and like, why are you mean to me? And also, it doesn't matter why. Like, I don't want to be here. So not tolerating people discounting me and who I am, but also I think a thing that I am not tolerating anymore is, oh man, it just came to my head and now I forgot it because that's how my brain works. Another thing is, what was I gonna say?
You were saying that like a person being mean to you.
It had to do with that. When my brain stops working.
A person being mean.
I'm not tolerating any more like breadcrumbing. Like someone like offering me just a little bit to hold me over. Yes. I know breadcrumbing is a term folks use, but also I look at it like I used to say it's like when you give somebody like an engagement ring and you're like, this will hold them off for a little bit before they start nagging me and aggravating me again. I don't want that. Like if it's not genuine and real, then don't give me any of it. Just say like, this is all I have, and I make that decision to say I can or cannot accept that, but also in the same vein of that, not letting, because I can understand your story or because I know where something is coming from, feeling like I have to give this unlimited amount of empathy to people. Mm-hmm. Because then I think you start tolerating some stuff that you don't really want to tolerate, and you stick around in relationships too long. And that doesn't necessarily have to be like an intimate partner relationship. That could be friendships, sometimes with your family. Sometimes you just got to be like, this doesn't serve me. And so I have to make that choice for me to get away from that.
The breadcrumbing is real, because there's a lot of people that literally just use that to string you along for an indefinite amount of time. Yeah. Like that breadcrumbing.
It's wild, yeah. So that's mine.
Oh, this is good.
Okay.
How would I describe my relationship with myself in one word?
Aww, that's a special question. How would I describe my relationship with myself in one word? Cheerleader.
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like even when like the shit is not great, I like feel like I have to be my cheerleader. Because again, I'm not always somebody that feels comfortable. Like there's like this is a handful of people who know like my day to day, and so sometimes I don't want to feel like I'm a burden, and I know that I'm not a burden, and I know that that's not what burdens are in me. But I think sometimes I don't. Again, in the vein of not wanting to be maybe negative, is like when those times are really rough, it's like, all right, Joy, well, it's me and you here. What are we going to do? I've thought about buying like pom-poms and stuff too, like to really like make it a thing. But I want to say cheerleader. What about yours?
I would say grateful. I say grateful because although there are so many things developing in my life, I have become so clear about the many gifts that I have. Like I to be healthy, to have a strong friendship base, to have a strong family, I feel very protected.
That's important.
And I'm grateful for that. Like there are many reasons why I feel that way. My background, being West Indian, and there are like many things that go into that, but I feel very protected.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful because I feel that that's what kind of allows me to take risks, because I feel like at the end of the day, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm protected.
Yeah.
And seen. Yeah. So grateful.
Wait, okay. Didn't do this one. What have I outgrown recently? What am I growing into?
I have outgrown negative self-talk. I have. Thank God I have. And I've replaced it with kind of what you said about being a cheerleader. Like I have replaced it with a lot of prayer and a lot of like positive self-talk. Like I'll be in the gym and, let's say I'm like trying to get 3 miles in or something like that. And I will be saying to myself like, bitch, you are fucking killing this run.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're going to turn the incline up, huh? Like, that's me talking to myself now.
I love that.
And, like, whatever it is that looks like for, other people. But, like, for me, it feels so good. I'm like, wow, this feels good. Like, I feel good when I speak nicely to myself. And I, give myself, that kind of a boost, because I started to hear this a few years ago. Like, if you're constantly looking for the outside to feed you and to give you that kind of positive feedback, when it doesn't come, it's going to hit so differently. It's going to crush you. And so I am so grateful that I'm in a space now where I can give it to myself. And, so that's what's come in, is a lot of positive self-talk.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've outgrown negative and grew positive. What have I outgrown but grown into? I would say grown out of being negative as much, and growing into being more grateful. And And not in that like toxic positivity kind of way of like everything is always great, but in a way of like honestly, and being able to lean into my faith is like truly terrible things have happened, and God has never let me down. And so sometimes I have to, I guess it's another grow in, grow out, growing out of being impatient and wanting what I want when I want it. And again, knowing like it's going to come.
Yep.
Just chill. Do what you can do.
Yep.
And if you can't do anything, pray and wait.
Yep. Pray and wait. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think another thing that kind of goes along with that too is the when those negative times come, like, you know, you're having a hard day, like I'll often say to myself and to people who I know that have these experiences, like, this is temporary. Like, this won't matter tomorrow. This won't matter next week, next month. And like being okay with that. Like right now, you're having a tough time. But this too shall pass.
Yes.
It works well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, we're on our last ones. I was gonna say my dumb ass, but I don't talk about myself like that. I picked 4 cards instead of 5.
Also, is it negative to say go bitch when you run?
I think that's not a negative.
Yeah, I think it's like,
I mean, if you're like,
I like it.
I think if it's like you such a stupid bitch, that's
No,
a negative.
yeah.
If you like go bitch,
Go
you bad bitch.
Yeah.
Hey. Let me just get another card.
Okay.
Got 4 instead of 5.
When was the last time you truly enjoyed your own company, and what were you doing?
Was the last time I truly enjoyed my own company?
I
always enjoy my own company.
That's dope.
I really always do. I can be doing absolutely nothing. I can be laying in bed. I can be watching TV on the couch. I can be driving in the car because sometimes when you got a makeshift studio. Sometimes I just like being in the car, and sometimes that's silent time and just listening to like the radio. And sometimes I'm in full concert.
Yep.
Or like getting a bite to eat by myself. I had kept saying I was gonna go to the movies alone because I used to love going to the movies alone before, but I haven't gotten a chance to do it. But I really enjoy my own company.
That's good. And
not in a, I don't think it's a negative way. I really like being with Joy. Yeah. I fucking love me.
As you should.
Yes, I should.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
I often like being alone too. If y'all know, I will watch reality shows for hours and hours. It's my favorite thing to do. I would say, but like a specific thing, this is very small, but maybe like 2 months ago or something on a Friday, I like went and got my hair done, and like it was done early, and then I went and sat at a restaurant and just had lunch by myself on a Friday afternoon. And I think that I enjoyed it so much because it was such a mark of the life transition that I had made in my career, and like being in a place in life where usually I would be like, it would be in the thick of the day, right? Where I would be going crazy and, you know, have a bunch of fires that I was putting out. And in that moment, I sat down and I was like, damn, so much has changed in a matter of a few weeks.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to career transition.
Right? Cheers. So proud of you.
And like in that moment, I just felt so free, and relaxed, and not rushed. And
if I was your therapist, I would say, talk about being free a lot. Feels like that's something that's important to you, huh?
It is very important to me to be free.
Yes.
Are you truly free?
Why you're bound?
In shackles. Shackles on your feet.
I don't think
that wasn't funny.
That was the Genuine song.
Yeah.
Is that what you saying? Shackles on your feet?
Yes.
You owe me.
That's
like he's
nice.
Gonna chain you up if you owe him money or pussy.
Not you saying.
Oh,
not you saying pussy on the podcast.
If you owe money or pussy. I think you owe me some. Well, Timberland. Damn, you gotta pay back the homies too.
Wait, God, wait, this might be problematic.
What?
Is this like sex trafficking?
We didn't do it. Genuine did it. We're not condoning it.
Genuine,
did she own Nas too?
And Nas, because Nas in the song too. She said, "You owe Timberland, you owe Genuine." You need to go back.
But this is way an aside. Yeah. But I was listening to some song. I think it's Biggie Nasty Girl, and it says something about talking about the freak bitch Paula, and he said something about we could all hit. Wait a minute now. Why do we all want to hit? Why would you let your friends? Oh, it's a train. Okay.
You must say it out loud.
We're also out of focus. How do you make it come back?
Come back to us.
Come back to me. Okay. Just cut that second out. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. What's something mean that was said to you? No, I'm reading it like to you. What's something mean that was said to me in my childhood that I carry to this day? What would I say to my younger self now? Hold on, let me go get my diary from when I was little.
That I got a big head. It's fine.
That's the meanest thing someone said. Oh.
That's what I used to get made fun of for having a big head when I was a kid.
My dad used to say, if you got a big head, it means you got a big brain.
Nobody said that to me.
Oh, so you need a Hezekiah.
Yeah, it was just like, big head, oh, you got a big head. And I'll be like, but, all right, so it's big. I can't wear hats. It's fine. But, like, now I can, sometimes, depending on the hat. Anything? Obviously, the talking too much. You have a big head. I think those are like the big things that stuck with me the most.
Okay.
I mean, and it's a fact. Okay. I do have a big head.
What would you say to your younger self?
If you have a big head, that means you have a big brain, like Hezekiah would say. No one told me that though, and my parents didn't say it either. My parents just said, "Yeah, you do have a big head."
I mean, I got made fun of. I didn't get made. Any guy that I've ever dated has been like, "Yeah, that is big." Why don't you say that? Why don't you tell me that? I mean, it is. It's a powerful big head. But my dad would say we have big heads because we have big brains. Because I have like protrudes here, and that's the thing. Like in my family, everyone has except for one person.
Dad, why didn't you ever tell me that I had a big brain? Writes it down in the diary.
What's something that was mean to me?
Yeah, something
I carry. Oh, I don't. I feel like if I remember it, then I'm carrying it. Maybe that's not true. So a thing that my mom said to me was, "You are so beautiful. You are more beautiful than all your friends. Boys don't like you because you're fat." And she didn't use the word fat. She probably didn't use the word. I think she used like bigger, big, pleasantly plump, shit like that. I don't know that I wouldn't say that I carry it with me as in like I fully believe it. I do though think that it can make it harder because regionally, maybe not so much in the South, but in the North, maybe not as popular. But also, am I putting myself out there? Am I staying into my lane? Am I trying to find people who want to find me? So I don't know. I don't know if it's I'm not putting myself out there in the right spaces. But I also don't want to be fetishized toward my size because I think that happens.
Exactly.
Sometimes. So I want somebody who likes me for me.
Exactly.
And so what I would say to my younger self is, "You're beautiful." Period. Or exclamation mark. We don't need to add that any qualifiers or any like thing that made younger Joy feel like only skinny girls have healthy relationships. And we see that so much. I saw a video the other day on Instagram, and this woman was saying how, what is some shit about like a man is only going to date a big woman if he like wants her to spend money on him because her credit is going to be good. Who told you that all fat women had good credit? Who said that? And then she gonna spend money on you. And so I was like, I'm watching, I'm like, girl, shut the fuck up. And then people in the comments were like, just because someone is big doesn't mean their credit is good. Doesn't mean they're gonna trick on you. Doesn't mean that they're desperate and seeking love. That's unhealthy. But I think there's still so many people who think that I think maybe the carrying it with me is that it's still a thing in the world. Even like, Love After Lockup, terrible example. But like with Monique and
yes.
I mean, their relationship was very unhealthy. It had nothing to do with her size. But even people being like, "Oh my God, why would you be with her? She's so big." And it's just kind of like, not granted, again, unhealthy relationship. But if they were in a healthy relationship, should she not be with a man because he's bigger?
Yeah. Like, what does the size of a person have to do with their mate that they choose?
Right. So it makes me sad because, like, I have clients who feel the same way. Oh, maybe I'm not finding someone to date because I'm big. I'm like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
But also, there's somebody somewhere else saying yes, it is.
And that's the problem.
So, yeah. So I would say to a younger version of myself, like, you're beautiful. Period.
What's become more important to you recently?
Gratitude, family, faith. Yeah. Holding on to believing that everything is going to be fine. Some of this stuff is temporary. It will get better. I want it to be better. And that I can build stronger relationships with the family members that I want to build stronger relationships with. And I've been working on that, and I enjoy it. What about you?
I think health, physical health, mental health. I just think, I am in my 40s. I would say I recently turned 40. You are 40. You are in your 40s.
And still fine.
But I think all of the things that come with that, just being very much proactive about my physical health and making sure that I'm in a good place and feeling good about, my health. So, doing a lot of preventive care and then making sure that my friends are also taking care of themselves as well. So also the health of my parents. My family is very important to me. I just think health is wealth. It's the only thing you can't trade. I mean, you can't trade time either, but you can't, health is really, really important. So health. And then legacy. I'm very thoughtful about what I'm leaving behind. What are the things that are going to stay, for my children, for the children that come after that, and like what impact I'm having on the communities that I serve, the people that I speak to, the work that I do. Like, even if my name is never, added to something, it's really important to me that someone will say that I helped them, do something well. And so I'm very thoughtful about that, like my legacy, the way I live, how I'm capturing certain moments and things like that, because I want to be able to have my story and the things that really show who I am and what kind of life that I live to stay.
I love that. Legacy has also been important because I don't want children, so legacy won't look like people that came from me directly, but I want it to be the people that I've impacted, and I do feel like I've already started to do that. I mean, you have obviously as well too. I feel like we both started to lay that groundwork for our legacy, and I do hope that in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, or 100 years, folks are still like, I remember that Joy girl, I remember that Alex girl, like that. That's so dope. All right. Oh, not the snack. What did the people who raised me teach me about love?
Oh.
What lessons do I want to keep? What do I want to challenge? This is a lot. My goddaughter bought me this when she was like 16. I'm like, did she know what these questions said? This is a question.
I'll start with, I was raised in a West Indian household. My parents are divorced. So I was raised by my dad.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Do you feel like being raised in a West Indian house is different than being raised in a Haitian house?
Perhaps.
Okay.
But I mean, it's very similar.
Okay. I feel like Haitians are strong people.
Very, very, very strong. I was raised in a Haitian home. And my father and my mom, who is my dad's second wife, but also I have my mother, who also, my biological mother, all raised me. And to say it was very complicated would be an understatement. I don't even know how to answer this question.
Okay.
Because it was such it's such a loaded question for me, with so many layers and so many like untouched areas of pain, fear. But I feel like despite all of that, what I did learn about love for children was that it is constant. So forget about romantic love, but the love for your child is something that is the most important thing in your life. Like, I can say without a doubt that the people who raised me would lay in front of a truck for me today. I think that brings a level of duty, loyalty, like it's very interesting. It's like there's almost like an ownership. That's why I always say like freedom, because I feel like when you come from a place where people give everything for you, to have the best, to feel the best, to do all of the best things that, which that is within their wheelhouse, you don't walk away from that unaffected, or especially as you get older and you see how difficult life is as a person who was born here.
Okay.
So to come from the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, not having language, and really,
that's why I said it's a difference.
Yeah. And like having to really make a way for yourself in a space that literally is not for you, and raise kids and make sure that your kids do better than you do, that does affect the way that you show up in romantic relationships, because you're coming from a place of survival.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very different way of growing up. But I will say that if I could be half of the parent that the people who raised me were to me, then I have done a good job, because I wouldn't trade, those experiences and them raising me the way that they did for the world. As I've said, today, there's nothing that they would not do for me as a grown woman. And so if we talk about love, we could talk about, the love for your child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
So I grew up in a 2-parent home. Both my parents are from the South. They moved to New York for different reasons and met on a blind date. My dad had been married before. My parents are 7 years apart. My dad had been married before and had a daughter. So I have a sister. What they taught me about love was that it was different per person. I think how my parents loved me was different than how they loved each other. It was different than how they loved their siblings and their parents. So I think that from a young age, I was able to see that love isn't always unconditional, and it looks different depending on the relationship. I guess the part that I would challenge is that I think sometimes love, again, is not enabling some things. And not letting, that's just how someone is forever. And I don't think that took away any of the love that existed. I think that it was a negative example for me of like, if someone has always been a thing or done a thing or shown a thing, that they're not going to change, and so you just ride out with them because of that. And I would challenge that. But a thing that I would keep is having fun in love, spending time in love, doing things that you both love together, doing things that you both love separately, and having your own life and having your own identity, and having your own friends and supports. But being able to come back and enjoy each other's time. That's what
I love that.
Thank you.
I like fun and love.
Yeah.
That's important.
I mean, like, my dad would play records on Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings, and it would be, I've seen my parents, like, dance together in the living room. And, like, those kinds of things are like, wow, I love this.
Yeah.
And then there were times I was like, I like each other.
Fun and love is beautiful. The image of your parents dancing in the living room is beautiful. I see it, and that's beautiful. And I think that is something that we should strive to keep.
I will also say I'm not sure if this would have looked different if my mother hadn't gotten sick.
How so?
Because a lot of the things that they did together, like my parents like outside. It's like, get a babysitter, we outside, we going to the parties, we going to the dances. And when she couldn't do that anymore, I do think it challenged their relationship in some ways. I also think that seeing your partner deteriorate, I'm sure, affects you in a. I think about how it affected me as a child. I can only imagine how it affected someone as a partner. So, there's other factors that do play into this, and I think of what a life my mother had gotten sick would have been like.
What are 3 things I love most about myself today?
Aww.
That's the last
feel like I'm gonna cry. I love my transparency. I love that I feel like I could create a safe space for people. And I love I'm trying to think of one more that's like a good one. Because I love a lot of things. I want to be like that. I'm just dope as fuck. I think I love that I am a giver, and I don't think I'm a giver in a way that takes a lot from me, because I also am very honest when I have capacity and when I don't have capacity, and I don't try to do a lot when I don't have capacity because I don't want to feel drained. But I feel like when I do, it's really intentional and it's really like, oh wow, thank you, Joy. Like I don't mind like being a servant almost in that way of like I have this knowledge. Like people ask me about podcasting and stuff, and I'm like, I can sit and talk to you about podcasting. It's easy. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Just being intentional with the space that I hold and being helpful to folks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I love the fact that I'm very resilient. And I say that because I find that I can be successful in a lot of different like environments. Mm-hmm. Like I could play in a few different areas. Mm-hmm. I think that I've gotten there mostly because of a lot of the exposure that I've had as a child. Okay. That my parents were pretty intentional about. Yeah. So I'm pretty comfortable asserting myself in a few different places. I like the fact that I can see people. Mm. And I think that has developed even more recently. Like, I love the fact that like I could sit and like be in someone's presence or have a conversation with them and fully like involve myself in who they are, what's important to them. Yeah. And like really have an authentic exchange with people. I think that's a gift. And I think that I love to make people feel and really authentically feel that we've had a meaningful time together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really important to me. And I think the last thing is my capacity and commitment to grow. Mm. Like I understand that who I am today may not be who I am tomorrow, and I'm committed to continuing to grow and change and evolve. And I think being as someone who works with, educators and helping people, like I want to model those sorts of things. And so I really value that about myself is like, I think that I'm dynamic.
Yeah.
So yeah. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this.
I did too. We hope that you learned something new about us and that maybe you can make some connections to what we shared today.
Yeah, or maybe you can answer these questions for yourself, share them with your friends, do something kind of fun with it yourself. But make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and share this podcast with someone who you think might like it. Also follow us on Instagram at Courageous Exchanges.
Remember to live a courageous and authentic life. We'll see you next time.
Bye.